Okay, folks. Well, today's practice is designed around a peak pose, which I do from time to time. And it's a peak pose that is a little bit more rare. The Sanskrit word for it is Kapinjalasana. And the English translation is Partridge Pose. So this is one of the practices that kind of comes into my collection of birds of a feather because it's a bird practice. Kapinjalasana is a very interesting pose because it puts together a few different dynamics in the body that we don't typically see happening concomitantly. In particular, you have an arm balance, you have a side body strengthening side plank, and a back bend that are happening at the same time. So again, those are three bodily actions that aren't always in relationship with each other, which makes it pretty challenging. So we're really going to try to approach doing little segmentized parts of this pose throughout the practice so that by the time we get to the peak, it's just a matter of putting together the blueprint that you've already built in your body. Let's start in a comfortable seated position. We'll be here for a few moments, so if it feels more comfortable to sit on a block, you can certainly do that. And then just take a moment to close the eyes, find a nice resting place for the hands, and we'll begin with some intentional breathing. And we're going to begin with 5 rounds of 3-part breath, or Dirgha Swasam today. And so it might help to visualize the torso as a big vase, and you can segment it into 3 parts, being the belly as the bottom part, the rib cage as the middle, and the collarbones and upper chest as the top. And so on your next inhale, begin to fill your body with breath from the bottom to the top, filling the belly, expanding the rib cage, and broadening the collarbones. And then begin to reverse that action as you soften the collarbones, you relax the rib cage, and you deflate the belly. And continue for 4 more rounds at your own pace, breathing in and filling the body from bottom to top, and breathing out to empty the body from top to bottom. And really letting the belly expand, the rib cage broaden, the collarbones broaden, and then really feeling that sense of softening and deflation as you let the breath out. Really letting the navel pull in, fully emptying the belly on the exhale. This particular breath is a great way to focus the mind, begin to calm the body as we move into a time of practice together. Final round. And at the base of your next exhale, I'm going to invite you to keep the lower belly drawn in. So we try to keep the lower abdomen relatively still, and then continue your deep breathing. Notice that it might feel a little bit more expansive in the upper 2/3 of the torso. So belly stays relatively still, breath really focused in that rib cage and upper chest region. And then you can begin to blink open the eyes. We're going to keep that breathing, but we're going to do some isometric contraction with the arms and shoulders, beginning by taking the arms really wide. The palms will face forward, and start to stretch your fingertips as if you were being pulled in opposite directions. And as you really reach in opposite directions, you might feel a pull through the inner elbow, through the palms, and then go in the opposite direction and imagine pulling that energy in, and you'll feel the upper back engage, particularly in between the shoulder blades. And then begin to go back and forth a few times, stretching wide as if you were being pulled in opposite directions, and then pulling in, drawing all that energy towards the back of the heart. Do that 2 more times, stretching and broadening. So from the outside eye, we look like we're doing nothing, and yet we're really aware of these muscles working. And then finding sort of a neutral engagement with the arms and the upper back. Imagine a brick wall in front of your palms of your hands, and start to push the palms of the hands into that imaginary brick wall, feeling the pecs, that kind of inner shoulder, inner armpit region really wake up. Keep pushing for another moment. And then reverse that. Imagine a wall behind you, so the tops of the hands are pushing into that wall. Yes, and then go back and forth between those 2 actions a few times. So pushing forward, you feel the pecs. Pushing back, you feel the rhomboids and the erector spinae. Do that 2 more times, pushing forward and back and forward and back. Good. And release that. You might need to kind of roll or shake the shoulders a few times. Quite a bit of heat can build just by doing that little bit of isometric movement. Really nice here. We're going to build Kapinjalasana arms. So you're going to take your right arm, stretch it out wide, and then pull the palm back as if this is the hand that will be on the floor in your side plank. Then drop your left arm alongside you and sweep your left arm back as if your pinky finger was reaching up towards the ceiling. This is the hand. Your left hand will eventually be holding your foot. Now notice if your rib cage has splayed out, draw your front ribs in together and broaden your upper back. Take one more breath here. Keep pushing out that right palm. And then sweep both of the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands down towards the floor. Walk it out. Just take one breath here forward. Nice breath in and full breath out. And then walking the hands up and in, hands find the knees, and take a couple of seated cat and cows, letting the heart come forward like your cow, and then rounding the spine like your seated cat. Twice more through that seated cat and cow, and rounding. And last time, and rounding. And then we'll build those Kapinjalasana arms on the other side. So finding that tall spine, take the left arm out wide, flex the palm back. This is the arm and the hands that will be on the base of your mat for your side plank. Drop the right arm beside you, sweep it back. Pinky finger is facing up towards the sky or the ceiling. Good. Keep those front ribs drawn in. Upper back is broad and expansive. Take one more breath here, feeling the action of the arms. And then on your in-breath, sweep the arms up, maybe looking up. Exhale, folding forward. Reaching those fingertips long. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, softening and folding in a little deeper. Inhale, walking the hands in. 3 seated cat and cows, rolling the heart forward on your seated cow. And rounding the spine, chin to chest on your seated cat. 2 more like that. And rounding. And forward. And rounding. We'll begin to make our way to all fours position. If you were on a block, you can just move it alongside you, finding your all fours position. And then once you get there, immediately tucking your right toes, extend that right leg towards the back of your mat, lean back into the right heel. Give yourself a moment to enjoy that hamstring stretch. I almost always notice that my pelvis starts to fall forward here, so I'm going to take my tailbone and lengthen it towards my right heel. Really nice. Take your left shin, spin it out, open into a supported side plank. Right arm up, and then hover and lift your right leg. Beautiful. Take your right arm, drop it alongside your right side body, so your right palm is touching your outer right thigh. And then just like we did when we were seated, slide your right arm back so your pinky finger is sliding towards the space behind you. Take one more breath here, looking upwards. And then exhale, turn your head towards your mat, right hand down, square hips and shoulders, 3 sunbird bows as you bow down and push up, and bow down and push up. And last time to bow down and push up. Lower the right knee next to the left. A few more isometric contractions for the core. Imagine the back of your wrist coming towards the front of your knees, squeezing together, and then rip your mat in half, fingertips forward, toes back. Do that 2 more times, squeezing wrist towards knees, and then ripping your mat in half. Feel the belly and the whole front of the core contract, and then feel it expand. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. First downward dog of the practice. Feeling free to walk it out, welcoming in any movement that helps you feel more spacious in this pose. Take one more breath here before we do that sequence on the second side. As you exhale, let your knees find the mat. Moving fluidly, tuck your left toes, slide your left leg straight, lean back into your left heel. Notice if you're dumping the front rim of your pelvis forward, lengthen your tailbone towards your left heel. Starting to shift into a supported side plank, you shift that right shin out, left arm up towards the ceiling, finding that supported side plank, and then once you're stable, hover that left leg. Take the left arm, lower it alongside your left side body, and then slide that left arm straight back. You'll feel the tricep kind of engage at this point. That's exactly what we want. Gazing upwards, one more inhale. And then as you exhale, transitioning for those 3 sunbird bows, looking down, left hand down, bring the shin in and bow. And push away. And 2 more. Bow, keep reaching the chin slightly forward, push away. Last time. Push away. You've got those isometric contractions. Left knee down, squeezing your mat in half, wrist towards knees, and then ripping the mat in half. Good. Pull it together, feel the front of the core contract, then rip in half. You feel your back body wake up. One more time. Pull it in and separate. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. That concludes the warm-up portion of the practice. We'll begin to transition into the sun salutation phase of the practice. Giving yourself one more breath here. And then you can lift the head, looking to the front of the mat. We'll walk or step the feet to the front of our space. We're going to begin with Surya Namaskaram A today. So inhale, fingertips to shins, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold in, nose towards the shins. Then circle sweep the arms, rising all the way up. Mountain pose, hands into heart center. Moving Surya Namaskaram A. Sweep those arms out and up. Folding Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Stepping back to your plank pose. Inhaling in your plank. Exhaling through your chaturanga. Inhaling, you find your up dog. Exhaling, you find your down dog. We'll breathe for 3. Kapinjalasana is a pose that is frequently associated with some of the female deities, and it's known to represent wisdom and courage, as well as creativity. Inhale, looking forward, walking, stepping, or hopping the feet to the front of the mat. As you inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, you dive in and fold. Rising all the way up. And hands into heart center. One more Surya A. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift, long spine. Exhale, stepping it back, plank. Lowering through our chaturanga. Finding our back bend. Down dog for 3. So if we think of Kapinjalasana as a representation physically of wisdom, creativity, but also of courage, we see how that can be the case when we're doing a pose that combines arm balancing, regular balancing, and back bending into a single shape. Inhaling, looking to the front of the mat, walking, stepping, or hopping the feet. Take your half lift to lengthen your spine. Exhale, folding in. Sweeping the arms out and up, moving through 3 lunge salutations, those 12 steps. Inhale, lengthen the arms alongside you, stand tall. Exhale, bring the palms of the hands together, position 1. Lengthening the arms forward, up, back bend at the top is 2. Folding over the legs, 3. We'll lead with the left as we step that left leg back, lower the left knee down. Sweep the arms up, taking one full breath in Anjaneyasana. And then we're going to move into a supported side plank, which we've been there before today. So hands come down, sweep your right leg straight back, spin your left shin out, that's your kickstand. Reach your right arm up, you're in your supported side plank. Now we're going to add on here, so drop the right arm alongside your right side body, just like we've done. Slide the right arm back, pinky moving to that space behind you. Now begin to bend your right knee and clasp your right hand around your right foot. Push your right foot into your hand, lean back. This is a good 60% of Kapinjalasana that you're doing right now. Take one more inhale here, and then look down at your mat, release that right foot. Tuck your left toes, press up three-legged dog. Inhale forward, keeping that right leg lifted in your one-legged plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath to pause between sides, really breathing in, aware of the breath coming in. Breathing out, aware of the breath moving out. As you look forward, left foot is going to step forward, right knee is going to melt down. Sweeping the arms up, you take your full breath in your Anjaneyasana low lunge. One more in-breath here, beautiful. Exhale, hands come down, sweeping it straight back to that supported side plank. Left arm reaches up. Take it in stages, trust the steps. Drop the left arm, sweep the left arm back. Feel that tricep engage. Begin to bend your left knee, let the foot and the hand connect. Then push the foot into the hand, let the left shoulder melt onto the back. One more in-breath here. Exhale, transition by releasing the foot, left hand down, tuck your right toes, press it up, three-legged dog. Inhale forward, maintain your one-legged plank. Keep it lifted, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing. Breath in, aware of breathing in. Breath out, aware of breathing out. Looking forward, walking, stepping, or if you're ready for a light hop. As you inhale, sweep those arms out, up. There's that back bend at the top to meet you. Hands into heart center. Two more lunge salutations. Take your in-breath, lengthen the arms, stand tall. Exhale, gather that energy into the heart center. 1, 2, forward, up and back. Maybe the eyes follow the fingertips. 3, folding over the legs. Right leg back, right knee down. Take your breath in your Anjaneyasana. Sweep the arms up, settle in, enjoy a breath here. Good. We're going to do hip dips in our side plank. So lower your right hand down, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. Step back to a full side plank. As you exhale, lower your right hip to the mat and your left arm to your left side body. As you inhale, lift your hips, sweep your left arm up and over like a rainbow. 3 more. Hip lowers, arm lowers. Hip lifts, arm sweeps up and over. 2 more. These are wicked hard. Use your right arm. Push down to lift up. Last one. Hip dips. Feel those obliques up and over. Come into your plank pose. Maybe say a thank you. You only have to do that once each side. Lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Really waking up that side body, taking your breath in down dog, so that when we get to Kapinjalasana, we're feeling really strong and stable in our side plank. Looking forward, that right foot is going to come forward, left knee is going to come down. Sweeping the arms up, you take your breath in Anjaneyasana, enjoying it. One more in-breath here, and then we start to build our side plank. Left hand down, tuck the toes, lift the left knee. Smooth transition as you step the right foot back, stacking the feet. Lower the hip, right arm lowers, then up and over to sweep. 3 more. Lower, this is my weak side, up and over. It's like no cheating here. Right side body can't help, left side's gotta do it. Up and over. 1 more. Grip that mat with your fingertips so it's not just the wrist. Up and over. Take your vinyasa. Plank. Ooh, lower. Upward facing. Downward facing. 1 breath here. Slow breath out. Looking forward, walking or stepping, maybe hopping. Sweeping those arms out, up and back. Hands to heart center. Last round, Surya Namaskaram. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reaching the arms forward, up and back. Folding over the legs. Left leg comes back, left knee down. You know what you're doing. You're taking your breath in your low lunge. Arms up. My wrists are feeling a little achy. I'm just going to roll them a couple times. Feels good. In the other direction. And then very similar, left hand down. I'm going to build my side plank, tuck my left toes, lift my left knee, step it back and stack my feet. And then star plank, hover my right leg like a 5-pointed star. Just one breath here. Then bend my right knee, wild thing, right foot behind my left leg, open my chest towards the ceiling, drop my head back and look back. One more breath here. And then move through your vinyasa. Chaturanga. Full breath in, up dog. Full breath out, down dog. Pause for an in breath. Enjoy your out breath. Looking forward, left foot's going to step forward. Right knee down. Settle into your lunge. Take your breath. One more inhale. And then we move to that plank. Right hand down. That's my foundation. Tuck my toe, lift my knee. Smooth step back, stack my feet. Star plank, cover my left leg. Keep my right hip lifted. Bend my left knee. Left toes behind my right leg. Open the torso to the ceiling. Lean back, look up. One breath in. Exhale, move through vinyasa. Up dog. Down dog. One breath here. And out. Looking to the front of the mat, walk, step, or hop the feet. Rising all the way up, there's that back bend at the top. Hands to heart center. Moving into our micro meditation, release the arms, close the eyes, settle into the feet. Take a moment to direct all of your attention to the connection between the soles of your feet and the surface of your mat. Feel that slight stickiness, that sense of grip and stability, that sense of connectedness, being grounded and anchored. When we get caught in our heads, directing our attention to our feet, the farthest physical point away from the brain, can help us come back to the body. And then opening the eyes, maybe just shaking it out. This is a good time for a quick sip of water, an adjustment of clothing. We're moving into our long sequence. Now we're only going to do this sequence once on each side. I am going to give you the chance at the end of the sequence to try Kapinjalasana twice. So we'll kind of have like a 30-second round one, take a break in child's pose, roll out your wrists, and then a 30-second round two. So you'll get to try the peak pose twice on each side of the body, even though we're only doing the sequence one time through. Okay? I'm gonna do this first pose facing you, and then I'll transition just because I want you to see it. But you can start at the front of your mat in mountain pose. Arms can be relaxed alongside you. Shifting the weight slightly into that left foot, take your right leg, slide it back, and point your toe just so your toenails are on the surface of your mat. Good. Try to have the hip points straight across, and there's a slight sense of lift in the front of the pelvis. Take your left arm and bend the palm just like we did in our warm-up. We've done this throughout the practice. Extend your right arm back. The pinky finger is moving up towards the sky or the ceiling. Good. Imagine you're pushing into the palm of that right hand into something. So there's that engagement of the tricep. Begin to bend your right knee. Don't hold the foot yet. Just pull your right heel towards your glute so you feel your hamstrings kind of action in. Good. And then from there, go ahead and take your right hand around your right foot. Push your right foot into your hand. This is 90% of your Kapinjalasana. You are doing Kapinjalasana, you're just doing it vertically as opposed to horizontally right now. Imagine how this feels for one more breath. Feel it. Let your the cells of your body soak it in. And then you're gonna step straight back to a crescent moon pose. So releasing that right foot to the back of your mat, landing in that big long lunge. Sweep the arms forward and up. Take a breath here before we move into a back bend. Steeple mudra. Interlace the fingers. Pointer finger straight up to the ceiling. Let your biceps hug the sides of your head. And then lift the rib cage and roll back into a back bend. Beautiful. You can even soften the back knee a little bit if that helps you access the back bend. Yes, good. One more inhale there. And then as you exhale, take the spine out of the back bend, release the steeple mudra, lower with control into your Anjaneyasana. Left hand to left thigh, right knee, or right shin rather, picks up, finding your quad stretch, hand to foot. Now there's a tendency for the pelvis to lift. We want to bring the heel to the glute, not the glute to the heel. Good, yes. Oop. Very nice. There's an option here. We're here for 3 more breaths to move into frog with the arms. So fingertips spin forward, elbow lifts up, pull that heel in. 1 more breath. And then gently release that right shin down. Big breath in, arms up. And then we're coming into lizard. Both hands on the inside of that left foot. If you have the space to melt to the forearms, see if you can lower to the forearms. This is kind of the valley part of the sequence, so let it be soothing. Let yourself re-regulate your breath. And then we'll transition straight to a forearm plank from here. So tuck the right toes, lift your right knee, pause for a moment, feel your inner thighs squeezing towards each other. Then try to keep your forearms down and step your left foot back, forearm plank. Imagine your elbows moving towards your toes, but without lifting your hips. We don't want to tent the hips. We want to keep them low. We're just energetically pulling elbows towards toes. Dolphin pose. Lift the hips, walk the feet towards the face. This is the pose. We're not going upside down here. We're just staying right here in dolphin for 2 more breaths. 2. 1 more in-breath. And then wiggle your feet back about 3 to 4 inches. On the count of 3, we're going to shoot forward to plank. You can soften your knees. 1, 2, 3. Plank, chaturanga, floor, all the way to the mat. Locust pose. So you're going to lengthen your arms alongside your body. Your pinky fingers are touching the outside of your thighs. Tops of the toes are on your mat. As you inhale, lift your head, your neck, your chest, your shoulders. Next, inhale, add on the legs. Try to see how much real estate of your thighs you can get off your mat. Next, inhale, lift the arms, and imagine your pinky fingers coming towards each other. 1 more in-breath. Half bow pose. Sweep that left arm in front of you at a 45-degree angle. Lower your left leg, bend your right knee, find the top of the foot. So this is already half bow. You can chill and work with the pose right here. If you want to make it a little bit more active, push the foot into the hand. Try to lift some portion of the thigh. It's hard. And then a few options to add on. You could lift the left leg once more. You could extend your left arm. Take 1 more breath here. And then lower your left leg. Bring your left forearm back in and underneath you. Half frog pose. Fingertips spin forward, elbow rotates up, heel descends down. Ardha Bakkasana, half frog. And so to soften this, you can take some of the back bend out, walking the forearm away from you. That might make it a little bit more accessible. Last breath here. And then we begin to gently release our half frog, upward facing dog. Take both palms underneath your pec muscles. Big toes are touching or are just a few inches apart. Push the floor away, lift the whole body, and then from there, let your pelvis soften. Roll the shoulders onto the back, lift the chin, take a breath here. Enjoy your up dog. Downward facing dog. Lift the hips, roll over the feet. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, round one of Kapinjalasana. You're going to be on your left hand. So the left side body is going to be the base for this side. Okay, here we go. We'll take it in stages together. Inhale, shift forward to your plank pose. Exhale, open into your side plank. Lower your right arm alongside your side body. Sweep your right arm back. Lift your right leg a few inches, bend the knee. See if you can find the foot in the hand and then push the foot into the hand, finding that sense of back bend. Maybe look up. Last inhale, and then release, move through a vinyasa just to kind of iron it out, and then find a child's pose for about 5 breaths before we give that a second shot. And it may feel good to kind of rock a little bit in the pelvis. Checking in with the breath, with the heart rate. And as we begin to mentally prepare for the second repetition, a gentle, kind reminder to trust the steps of the pose. Just taking it one step at a time as they build on each other. Let's start to shift back to downward facing dog, so shifting the weight forward, tucking the toes. I'm going to do the same side but facing back, so that if you need the visual. As you inhale, shift forward to your plank. Then open up, left hand stays down, right arm floats up, side plank. Lower the top arm. Sweep it back. Pinky moves to the space behind you. Hover the right leg, bend the knee. Connect foot and hand, and then push those two together, finding your back bend. One more breath, and then gently moving out, finding your vinyasa, returning to a child's pose for 3. And 2. Remembering this pose is all about wisdom and courage and creativity. Start to shift forward, tuck your toes to downward facing dog. Looking to the front of your mat, you walk or you step your feet forward. Give yourself a half lift to find that length in the spine. Exhale to fold in. Rising all the way up. And then we start that second side, releasing the arms, just facing you so you can see these early steps. Let the weight slide to that right foot. Left foot comes back just until you can point the toe. Make sure you've got pelvis straight across and slightly lifted. Take the right arm out, bend the palm back. Left arm sweeps back. Start to bend your left knee, hugging your left heel towards your glute. So your hamstring is contracting. You're strengthening your hamstring. Then you try to connect foot and hand. From there, you push the foot into the hand. You are in Kapinjalasana, just in a vertical orientation. Take one more breath here. With control, release, step it back. You find your crescent moon. Arms are reaching up. We prepare for our back bend. So we interlace our fingers, find our steeple mudra, and then before we bend backwards, think of lifting the ribs up and then roll back. Yes, you can soften that back knee if that makes it feel a little bit more proportional in how you're distributing the stress along the spine. Last inhale. Exhale, coming out of the back bend, releasing your steeple mudra, lowering with control to your Anjaneyasana. Right hand to thigh, lift the shin, find your quad stretch. Remember, the heel is moving to the glute, not the other way around. Good. And then for those of you that are, in the words of Ted Lasso, Wonder Kids, and you can come into your little frog stretch here, by all means, give it a shot. And then we start to release gently and with control. Arms sweep up, nice big inhale here. We're lowering to our lizard pose, so hands inside that right leg. We have about 3 to 4 breaths here, so a little bit of time to figure out what is the depth that we can access. Maybe eventually finding your way onto the forearms. And then moving to forearm plank, we tuck the left toes, we lift the left knee. We feel the inner thighs squeezing up and in towards each other. And then step the right foot back into that forearm plank. Now, without tenting the hips, we energetically pull, isometrically pull the elbows back towards the toes. One more in-breath here. And then now we lift the hips, walk the feet in, find our dolphin pose. Take a couple breaths. Maybe you soften the knees so the spine can get really long. And then as we prepare to shift into plank, we might need to step the feet back a few inches, soften the knees, get a little buoyant, and then at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, plank. You lower through chaturanga all the way to the mat. Very well done. Lengthen the arms alongside you. Pinky fingers, those are alongside the thighs. Locust pose. Inhale, lift head, neck, chest, and shoulders. Take a breath there. Next inhale, add the legs on. See how much of the real estate of the thighs you can lift. Yes, beautiful. Next inhale, add on the arms. Pinky fingers are moving towards each other like there's a magnet pulling the pinky fingers towards one another. One more inhale there. Yes, that's all the action of your pose right there. Release, sweep your right arm around 45 degrees. Bend your left knee, half bow pose. Find the top of your left foot. This is the pose. You can stay right here. No need to add on if this is enough. If you're wanting a little bit more activity, push the foot into the hand, try to lift the thigh. You could also add on the lift of the right leg and extend the right arm. Big breath in. Coming out, preparing for Ardha Bakkasana, half frog, lower the right leg. And then drawing fingertips forward, elbow up, Ardha Bakkasana. Half frog. One more breath. Upward facing dog, releasing gently, palms underneath the pecs. Push the floor away to elevate the body. Then melt the pelvis. Enjoy a full inhale in that up dog. And then downward facing dog. Last big pose of the practice, Kapinjalasana. Trust the steps. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Right palm is going to stay down, open to side plank. Lower left arm alongside the side body. Slide that left palm back. Lift the left leg, bend the left knee. See if you can connect the foot in the hand, and then push the foot into the hand. Take one more in-breath. Move through Vinyasa. Beautiful. Make your way to Child's Pose. Take about a 3-breath pause. Two. Last time to move through the pose. Begin by shifting forward, finding a downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. Open to your side plank. Right palm is down, left arm is up. Left arm lowers along left side body. Left arm slides back. You feel the tricep engage. Hover left leg, bend the knee. Try to connect foot and hand. Once you have that contact, push them together. Find your sense of back bend. And then make your way to Child's Pose. You could do Vinyasa, you could skip it. Lifting your head. I am aware of time. I want to do this thing with the blocks. If you are very crunched for time and 45 minutes is your limit today, please take your Shavasana now because it's going to come after we do this, okay? If you have the time, this will take a couple of minutes. Take your blocks, stack them on the bottom right corner of your mat, okay? Then you're going, you have to do a little bit of calculus to get your right ankle outside or right on top of your blocks. The leg is kind of externally rotated. Left leg is bent as if you were coming into bridge pose, and then you lay yourself down. Good. This, what we're about to do, is not a classical yoga pose, but it gives you an idea of the muscles that you really need to find stabilization, to feel really stable in Kapinjalasana. So we're going to begin. Try not to push too much into your left foot. Use your right glute and your right outer ankle to push and lift the right side body. So you're elevating everything up. Good. Now sweep your arms towards the sky or ceiling and push your palms together. Keep the body, the hip, and the leg lifted and see if you can hover your left leg for 3. Yes, that's your glute majoris. 2. That's what stabilizes Kapinjalasana. 1 more inhale. And then lower your left foot. Release the arms down and slowly lower the body. You're going to take your blocks, slide them over to the left bottom corner of your mat. Same thing, second side. Left outer ankle is on the top of that block stack. Left leg is externally rotated. Right knee is bent, foot on the mat. Start to push down through the outer left ankle and engage your left glute to float the body up. Maintain that. Sweep your arms up, palms together. And then try to hover your right leg for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower the right foot, lower the arms, lower the body. Find happy baby pose, bringing the knees in, holding on to outer feet or ankles. And then a very gentle twisted roots pose. We'll cross the right thigh over the left. Take the arms out wide in a T position. And a little bit counterintuitive, drop your knees to the right. So I particularly like this twist after a pose that demands a lot of the mid-thoracic and lumbar spine. It's a little bit more of a direct focus in the bottom portion of the spine for the twisting. And then engage the belly just enough to draw the legs back to center. And you'll switch the crossing of the legs, left thigh over right. And then let the knees fall to the left. And then slowly coming back to center, unraveling the legs and finding your way to a brief Shavasana, extending those legs and arms. Maybe doing a quick scan of the feet and the hands, releasing any tension there. Relaxing the muscles of the face and the chest, releasing any remaining tension there. And then finally releasing the pelvis and the buttocks, relaxing any remaining tension there. And using your next few breaths to begin to slowly reinvigorate the body. Maybe welcoming in some subtle movement, maybe a body stretch. And then returning to a comfortable position that is seated to close our practice. Either bringing the hands onto the body as a gesture of gratitude or bringing the palms together. We ask that the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light, which in Sanskrit sounds like these 4 words. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Victory to our practices.